I have a small 10 by 15 centimeter canvas. For colours, I have titanium white, quinacridone red, cadmium red deep, pale olive green, emerald green, cadmium yellow, and Prussian blue. Spray bottle, jar of water, blending brush, flat brush, long flat brush, small filbert brush, cat tongue brush, an old rag or cloth. First going to start by spraying my canvas, and then with my long flat brush I'm going to put it in the jar of water and soak it nice and make sure that it's really wet. And then I'm going to mix some emerald green and some Prussian blue, and I'm going to put that onto the canvas. I'm going to do the same with the pale olive green and the Prussian blue. I'm going to put that onto the canvas. It doesn't really matter where you put it. You can be as loose as you want with this part, because this is just the beginning of the painting. Then grabbing some yellow, I'm not going to clean out my brush, I'm just going to go in and also add in some of that yellow. I'm going to clean out my brush now, and I'm going to grab some emerald green, some yellow, and some Prussian blue. And so each mix of green that we do is giving us different outcomes. I'm also going to grab the Prussian blue on its own and add that in some places on the canvas. This is completely freestyle. We're not planning any of this out. We are just playing around with color. I'm going to clean up my brush and grab my dry blending brush. This is just a makeup brush that we use for makeup, but I use it for blending, and it works brilliantly. Now I'm going to use a stipple motion, so up and down, and small circular motions. So I'm going to start anywhere where the lightest color is. So for me, the lightest color is where this pale green is. So I'm going to go in and blend that out. So I'm just very lightly dabbing down my brush, and so this is just absorbing that color and making sure that we're going to be able to get the blend without causing too much of the colors to over mix together, and then we won't be able to see any of the colors on their own. So I'm just going around and blending, and you can see the colors are going to slowly start blending together. And this is why this makeup blending brush just gives you the most beautiful shades of green. If your colors don't blend as well together, you can go in with a second layer. However, if you like the color payoff and you kind of like that transparent, very light, those light colors coming through, then you only need to do one color. You need to do one layer, not two layers. So for this painting, I normally do 2 layers, but I actually really like almost the transparency of the colors with that first layer. So I'm going to leave this to dry, and then we'll come back and add our florals. So I've left this for about 10-15 minutes to dry, and I'm now going to go in with some flowers and some florals just to add so that they pop out from all of those greens. So I'm going to be taking some of my cadmium red and dipping it into with some titanium white, and just very slowly I'm going to start putting down petals. So just grabbing some paint, I'm using my cat tongue brush, so I'm just very, very lightly putting down my brush and then lifting it up. Sometimes I'm clustering them together and sometimes I'm doing them separately. So we want to play around with different sizes and shapes. You can do sometimes 5 petals, 2 petals, 3 petals, completely up to you with how you want to play around with the petals. At the moment right now, I'm keeping them all kind of located towards the bottom. And so I'm just grabbing my cadmium red as I go. You can even add some yellow to it. It's going to give it an orange tint. And that's going to look really pretty with all those petals. So we're just adding a bit of variation with the colours. So taking some of the yellow, then some of the white, then some of the cadmium red. This is just going to all look very pretty when it all comes together. Now, grabbing some of that cadmium red and some white, I'm going to add a few petals over here towards the top. Might need a bit of white in those. And I'm just going to be placing them randomly, going in different directions. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. I don't need to add more to it. Then I'm going to be swapping out my brush now. I'm going to be swapping out my brush and I'm going to be moving on to my short flat brush. I'm just wetting that brush. And then I'm going to be taking the quinacridone red with some of that white. We're going to get a different shade of pink now. And we're going to add slightly larger petals. So going in. You can go in and add some white to it. Kind of look like hearts. I'm just adding those. And then also going out a little bit further away. Like so. Now what I'm going to be doing next is grabbing the same brush. So I'm going to be dipping it in some yellow and some emerald green. Just like so. Maybe taking even a bit of the Prussian blue. And I'm going to be adding some greenery. But not too much of this, only a little bit. And then adding more blue into my brush to get a slightly darker green. Like so. And grabbing my liner brush. So grabbing my liner brush, I'm going to mix some yellow, some blue, and some red. This is just going to make a quick and easy brown color. And I'm going to start creating a sort of branch that is going to lead upwards. So I'm just connecting all of those. You don't have to be perfect. Your lines do not have to be straight, they can just be wobbly, absolutely fine. We're just slowly connecting all of those petals together. Like so. This is really going to bring in bring them to life, because now we get to see all of it connected together. Can even connect some of the greenery as well. Anywhere that is just going to keep doing that all the way through. Like so. So it doesn't have to be perfect. The wobblier it is actually going to make it look better, because sticks and twigs and branches, they are never straight. So okay, I think I'm gonna stop there. I'm really happy with how that has come together. And then I'm going to grab my cat tongue brush, and I'm going to mix some yellow and some white, and I'm going to tap this into the two parts of the painting where I have this brighter yellow. I'm going to be taking my brush and tapping it like so. I just want to bring some brightness into the painting. And then lastly, I'm going to be taking the small filbert brush and going in with some white. And I'm going to be adding small little white leaves. You can kind of cluster them together as well, but I do want to keep them mostly separate. And I'm just adding that to the branches wherever I can see some clear space. I'm just going to also add a few that are floating down as well. So a few across the painting too. Like so. And this was the final results. If you enjoyed today's tutorial, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and make sure to turn your notifications on, and I'll see you in the next video.